Go Blue, everyone. Is Ty Haywood a lock? Pro Football Focus potential disrespect in their new rankings, and a rant on is the regular season now dead and meaningless? All coming up next on Michigan Wolverines Live.
You guys should check out the Michigan Wolverine Live. They're out here doing great things, doing great podcasts, great live shows. They're really just doing their thing, help them blow up.
And we are back for another episode of Michigan Wolverines Live, episode 183. My name's John D'Adamo, and I'm going to be taking you through the next hour and a half or so. And we are coming to you from YouTube. We're coming to you from X. We're coming to you from Twitch. And on your commute, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, and, of course, the famous Deezer. Please like, subscribe, and share this out with at least one friend. Take the YouTube link, share it out there. Let people know we're live right now. Tell everybody, and we can really get this thing going. And of course, send us a super chat. It only takes a second, and you can have your comment or question posted on screen. We'll only be able to get to a certain amount of comments or questions that aren't super chats. So we got some topics to talk about. So without further ado, we're going to talk about those topics with, as always, each and every Tuesday, TJ Ronin in the house.
What up, boys? What up, Michigan Nation? It's a lovely, cold Tuesday. Hell did freeze over. The Buckeyes are, crashing golf carts and, winning ugly trophies. But anyways, it's okay because Michigan's going to be on the up. There are good things in the future. The week, John, we didn't even plan on this, but the week Martindale situation is looking positive. We'll hit on that a little bit, especially with recruiting. And we got a hell of a show for you guys. And not only do we have a hell of a show for you guys, and shout out to Detective Loki. And shout out to everybody, by the way. Thanks for joining our show tonight on this cold Tuesday. But we have a major announcement that we are excited to bring to you guys. Listen, we're going to announce it tonight, but be on the lookout in the coming months because we have some big news that we're going to bring to our community and especially our members. Shout out to the members, the Northern Savages. We appreciate you guys. Go Blue.
Go Blue, and Detective Loki saying it like it is, and we have a whole segment on this at the end of the show. This is he says asterisk. Look, Buckeyes spent a year saying that the Michigan National Championship was an asterisk. Well, now you can just lose to Michigan, lose to Oregon, sit at home, and you can still win a natty. So congratulations to the Ohio State national champions.
I saw a funny statistic that the Big Ten Network put out. What's funny is so here's one for you guys. You guys want to argue with some of these Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are trying to present the argument that this is the greatest run in college football history. They beat all these top 5 teams, whatever. Did you know that the most wins in Big Ten history on their way to a national title is still held by Michigan with 15 wins? Ohio State only got 14. So how's it the greatest run when they didn't even get to 15 wins, John? And they played in more games.
Yep.
Played in more games and didn't even get to 15 wins, guys.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
It's just like when third base said he was gonna hang 100. They just fall short, and sometimes comically so.
They can't even get a golf cart driver, John. I mean, that's Ohio State's a mess. I mean, they bought a championship. We're happy for them. I guess listen, they'll get their 5th straight loss in Ann Arbor next year. It's fine. Michigan's doing its thing. We know Ty Haywood's trending in the right direction, so it's okay. We'll let them enjoy their little, 12-team participation trophy.
Absolutely. Well, let's shout out some of our members. Obviously, Loki with the 2 there. Marmar's here. We got Douglas here, who's a Connor Stallions member. Jason's here. GT, Keith Rebar. A lot of these are Connor Stallions members, and they're all here hanging out. We appreciate all of you for being here each and every Tuesday. There it is. And yeah, we'll even give one to the Buckeyes because look, you're a member, so we appreciate that.
Well, here's what we're gonna talk. You know what? I'll save it. We're gonna talk about this championship later. I'll give my honest takes on it. You didn't get 15 wins though. I can say that, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it later.
And Ramez throwing out the super sticker, $5. Thank you so much, Ramez, for that. Ramez always is hanging out with us on our members only streams and calling in. But before we hit topics, we do have something very exciting. So we were just on with our friends who you all know now, the Win Agency and Michigan Football at Voice of College Football and Win Agency have a major announcement coming up soon for our members and the entire Michigan community.
Yeah, I mean, so what we can share, and there's some things we can't share quite yet in the coming weeks and definitely months. We will be actually starting next week. We'll start revealing more and more of it. But for our members, you are going to have the opportunity to be a part of a challenge that's going to be coming down the road that we're excited to announce. We're going to leave it there. We can only speak about so much. It's classified, but we got some big things coming. And I will say this, John, to be a part of this challenge, you have to be a member of our community, tier 2 or higher. So if you are a member of our community, tier 2 or higher, you have the access to be a part of this. And what I can guarantee you is this: you will want to be a part of this. There's no doubt about that. And our good friends Win Agency are in the comments, John.
Yeah, they are. I'm giving them a chance to see if they can. Yeah, because currently it says go glue, but we know what you meant. We know what you meant.
Hey, it's cold outside. Their fingers are numb. All right, leave them alone.
Look, we're all dealing with it. Wolverine again showing Wolverine not so casual with some numbers right here. $5. Final net SP plus is 20. Okay, so Ohio State 31.2, U of M 31.3.
Because U of M's the greatest.
Yeah, because look,
you know what the funny argument is, John? You see Buckeyes being like, oh, well, the 2024 team would beat the 23 Michigan team, but they couldn't even beat the 24 Michigan team. How are you going to beat the 23 Michigan team? Get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
couldn't even beat Davis Warren.
Listen, they won a natty in a watered down college. We're happy for them, man. I'm happy for them. You got a national championship. That's cute. We got one too. Enjoy it because next year it's not yours. So you're gonna lose it next year, and you're definitely not beating us next year. So that's just where we are with it. Plus, their team is losing so much, man. This was their hurrah, their $20+ million roster. They, if anything though, hopefully let's look at the positive. It should motivate our donors. Can't have it. Unacceptable. We'll handle business.
Facts. And I think it did. It was a wake up call. We did see Bryce Underwood obviously being a massive first move, and more coming, and we'll be talking about some of the names still in the portal and some of the recruits that you should be starting to get familiar with for 2026 as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so first of all, we are starting already to get the way too early lists from the various experts. Michigan as high as 12 and as low as 25. Pro Football Focus rounding it off with the 25th rank for Michigan. And they have mentioned essentially that the national title defense didn't quite go as planned. But still, of course, mentioned our victories over Ohio State and Alabama. As you can see on this list, Michigan is behind 5-7 Auburn right now in the rankings. I guess because they think, John. Yeah, it's one thing. I would have accepted it if it was just if we were just behind a bunch of 9, 10, 11 win, but 5-7 Auburn. That's disrespect.
I mean, I feel, personally, I think we should be ranked around 15 to 20 going into next season. Because I do think there is we got to earn it. And I do understand our quarterback situation is not resolved at this moment, but at the same time, now we are in the position where we have a lot of guys returning. Now, yes, we are losing some top end talent, but we saw what our team looks like when the top end doesn't play. They still played at an elite level. And, like we talked about, the wing situation's trending in a good direction. We do have a new offensive coordinator. The quarterback situation's an upgrade. Yes, there are some concerns, offensive line and wide receiver, but outside of that, the team looks very strong, very healthy. I would put us in the 15 to 20 range. But here's the thing. It's PFF. It's January. They don't got shit to do. Football season's over. They're going to make these lists. So, the real list won't come out until later in the year. And we'll see where Michigan's ranked with the AP and all that. But, it's fun to look at, but it is interesting to see they place us behind Auburn. I don't get that at all.
Yeah. On 3, on the other hand, is placed Michigan 12th. So there is that I feel like somewhere in the 15s feels 20 maybe, but not. Yeah, it's a little low, I think.
And I would argue 12's high. I'm not so sure where we should be ranked 12th so early. I do think we need to earn it. And I kind of want the disrespect chip on our shoulder. I want the boys to go into the season ready to prove some stuff, all right, everyone's disrespect. I want them to take it disrespectful. So, again, now here's the fun thing, John. So we're officially in the off season. We're going to get a lot of these. There's gonna be a lot of these to come. So we'll see, where they move Michigan as it comes, because here's another thing too, we got to be aware of. Yeah. The winter portal seems to be closing and things seem to be, momentum seems to be closing on that as well. Spring portal's a thing. And we'll see if Michigan makes some aggressive moves. Do they knock on Skylar Bell's door again? I'll tell you what, if they do, that'd be hilarious, because I'm talking shit to all those Connecticut fans who are running their mouth to me, bro. But if they do, we'll see. But outside of that, we'll just have to see where it goes. Here's the good news, John. I think there's no doubt we're a top 25 team next year. I think there's no doubt about that. So that's positive. We'll see if Michigan can, come in with a chip on their shoulder and exceed expectations,
Yeah. I think that we can all agree that this season had a lot of headwinds, and especially with the schedule the way that it was. Well, next year's schedule, there are 2 things that are very different about next year. Number 1, the schedule is significantly easier. This year, you're up against 5 playoff teams. Next year, a lot more cupcakes, and just an easier row to hoe. And then two quarterbacks who are better than anything we had this year.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We were talking, so like we mentioned, we met with one agency. We were talking about if we just had Mikey Keene this year, if we had Mikey Keene, we're a playoff team.
Yep.
We're a playoff team. So next year is going to be our year to make some noise and, really cement the Sharon Moore, era. I mean, this year was Sharon Moore's first season to get his feet wet, and I'm sure he learned a lot. He made some tough decisions at the end of the year in terms of moving on from Kirk Campbell, getting a new offensive coordinator. The question is going to remain: did he do enough? Is the wide receiver coach? That's a question mark. Defensively, it looks like I said, things are in a good spot there. Did we do? But and listen, we have all offseason to talk about this. Did we do enough to strengthen the roster? It's debatable. I know some people in the audience believe we do. I know some people in the audience believe we haven't. The good news is it's not done. So we'll just have to see what the final roster looks like after the spring portal.
There you have it. So keep an eye out. We'll have more rankings. We'll have more analysis. And yes, we will be going through each position group, and we'll be talking about where we think they're going to be ranked, where the depth chart is. We do our way too early offense and defense depth chart. And we may have some agreements, disagreements. You guys will probably have some agreements and disagreements. And that's just the fun of the offseason, folks. We're officially there, and we're gonna have a great time. And all of you are gonna be here with us here at the Voice of College Football. GT with the 5 was the MVP of last night's Notre Dame's third down defense or the golf cart driver?
John, I got to play the video of this golf cart. Can I do that?
Yeah.
All right. So for those who have not seen this, this is the real MVP in my opinion.
You know.
So this golf cart, man.
Well, and
that's the Ohio standard right there, boys.
That's right. That's right. You have the penguin dance, and then you've got really, really premium golf for driving.
Watch Ryan Day walk. Watch him walk. Head down. Head down. Dude, that's such the Ryan Day walk. The walk is changing. You deserve it, Ryan Day. Get out of here. Yeah. You know what's funny? That whole fan base wanted him fired like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the greatest now.
Four losses against Michigan's fine now.
The real MVP was the golf cart driver. Salute to her.
Absolutely.
She gave us all a good laugh last night.
Wolverine, not so casual with the 5. What happened with Shize Pete? Do we have an idea of why we're missing on these transfers? What's going wrong? And where do we go from here on offensive line? Well, remember that Michigan is one of the top ranked teams in the transfer portal right now. We do have to take a collective breath. Wide receiver isn't going the way that any of us wanted. And obviously Pete was a blow as well, but we have to remember that, and we've heard from a very big source inside the Michigan program. TJ and I have both heard from this source, who has said that the 60 credit issue is looming large in some of these decisions. Yeah. Because you can only Michigan will only accept as many as 60 credits. So we've talked about that on previous shows, but we had somebody very high up, let's just say one of the best sources you can have for the Michigan program, who has said that it's been causing some hurdles. It's not NIL.
Yeah, so this specific recruitment was actually NIL.
This one was
offered
NIL.
A lot. This one is, but John's point, because I've been waiting for the moment to hit on that information we got, and so essentially here's to give people some clarity on the hurdle for Michigan on the credits and everything. They do have the 60 credit limit, which we all knew, but to be qualified by the NCAA, you have to have 98 credits as a junior. Okay. Or something like that. Or is it to be into senior year? Something like that. They got to reach 98 credits. So Michigan can only accept 60. They have to reach 98 credits to go into their senior year. That's what it is. I think that's what it is, right?
I think you're right.
And then, so we're talking a 38 credit gap that Michigan is battling. And the only way to achieve this is if they load up their winter, spring, and summer semesters, and they have to load them up while going through spring ball, while going through summer conditioning, fall camp, and it's just a lot for these kids. So Michigan essentially, so when these kids come in, that's exactly what it is. So when these kids come in as juniors, they get reduced down to 60 credits, and then they got to get to 98 by their senior year. This is the hurdle Michigan has. And then on top of that, John, just like the Miles Hinton situation, some credits don't transfer, like bio, like at Stanford, right? So Miles Hinton was talking about how his bio credits didn't transfer, even though he was at Stanford. Which I mean, you would think that's got to be some quality. It's got to be a quality science class. I would imagine that's a quality science class, but no, Michigan doesn't take that credit. So that's the hurdle with these juniors and these seniors who have not graduated yet, like a Skylar Bell. So for example, if Skylar Bell came to Michigan, who is one semester away from graduating, he'd only be able to get 60. So that's why we can't get these kids. And that's the real hurdle. Michigan's going to have to, figure out a better approach, I think, in the portal era now. And I'm not, And I know, listen, I hear you. Michigan's not changing their academic approach. We get the comments. I read the comments. I'm just simply saying this is the hurdle and this is the situation we're dealing with. Hopefully, Michigan identifies these kids as freshmen and sophomores and can get them in. And then to the point of, Shy as Pete, he was, these kids are, all right. So, okay. This actually rolls right into the Ty Haywood situation. So the way Michigan looks at it's like this. You have Shy as Pete who is requesting X amount of money in the millions. We'll say in the millions because it is in the millions.
I've heard 1.5 thrown around.
Right. So it's in the millions. Okay. Michigan does not feel his production meets the value.
Yep.
And they'd rather pay a kid like Ty Haywood, who they believe has enormous first round potential, that money, than a guy who's going to be here one same level of quality of a player. So Michigan truly is building this through recruiting. That's the one. It's easier to bring these kids in through recruiting than obviously the transfer, and then it's just more efficient for the donors' money to be spent on higher end players coming out of high school than getting guys who are a step below for the same price, or maybe even two steps. Because like some of these kids' price points, we all know, like we've talked about on the show. Anyone who's watched our show, we've mentioned some of these price points to you. They're insane. You have receivers who are only getting 500 yards, asking for $2 million. That's crazy. It's crazy. Well,
yeah.
People
need to understand that that even though Michigan's NIL has been significantly bolstered, and it has. And I was somebody who was very critical 2 years ago, and I will tell you that it is one of the best in the country now, and it's remarkable the improvement that's happened. However, there's still things called budgets. There are still things you still have some we need to keep it to a certain number, and we're only going to go up from that number if someone has really demonstrated that they are going to be an elite, as you said, first round type of talent. So while the main reason we're missing is because of the credit issue, the Pete one was Kentucky has stepped up, and they said we're gonna give you at least most of what you're asking for. And from what I understand, we're looking at somewhere in the $1.5 million range.
Correct.
So Michigan felt that was unreasonable. Go have him, Kentucky, overpay on someone else and go 7-5 again, and have fun with that. We don't want to go 7-5. 8-5 for us is a very disappointing season. For Kentucky, that's just another walk in the park. So there you go.
Right. Because when you can get players as freshmen at an elite level and have them in your program for longer, that's obviously the better investment. That's how Sean McGee's looking at this.
Yep.
So we just need to watch the plan. Now, one thing too that I think we also need to be aware of is look, these teams are being ran like NFL teams now. And if there's shortages in the roster, there is a general manager to look at. The general manager is building this roster. So Sean McGee is the man who is behind the drawing board, which, obviously with Sean Moore and the coach's input, no doubt. But at the end of the day, Sean McGee's building this roster. So we need to, and this is going to sound crazy, but it's where we are. We need to look at this like a professional team and literally allow Sean McGee's only been here one season, boys. He gets a 3-year window here. Like any professional general manager, they typically get about 3 years, unless you're a crazy owner who just lets the general manager drunk at the wheel for 5 years. Lions, unless you're like that. But the reality is, he's got to have a 3-year vision. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he probably has more than 3 years. The point being is, we got to allow this time and things to develop. And let's be honest. Look, you landed Babaloa, you landed Underwood. You now have Ty Haywood in a great position. These are cornerstone players. This is how you build a team, guys, through the trenches and through the most important position on the field. Michigan's okay. We've landed a lot of talent, guys, in terms of recruiting. The portal is strong. Now, I know, John, you mentioned the three our ranking with On3 has us pretty highly ranked. 247, it's kind of not so high. I guess, it's whatever source you prefer. I'm a 247 guy myself. Although, listen, they all have their faults. But at the end of the day, I think majority of us would agree there are some areas within the roster that still need improvement. So yeah, the team's in a good spot. It's in the right direction, but there is work to do.
There is. The truth with the $2 Canadian, 13-10, no charity championship will be recognized. Facts. That's right. Throw the 4 years of Michigan beating Ohio State emoji in the chat right now, because it's facts. Michigan beat Ohio State 13-10 just 2 months ago, not even 2 months ago. And so really, did they really win the national championship? I mean, technically they have the trophy, okay? But when you're losing 13-10 to this Michigan team, you just know that deep down there's a little bit of emptiness. There just is. I mean, I'd be feeling a little emptiness if I was in their shoes.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, we're going to hit on this later about, what does this really mean? But, it burns a little bit. They won a natty. And I'm sure, it was sweet in terms of, celebration last night and all that. But it wasn't a perfect season. You did lose your rival again. We own your stadium. That's our stadium. And, it just so, as historic, like the thing that we'll get into it. We're going to talk about, I got a take on this that I'll unleash, but we'll have fun with it later.
All right. And yes, Buckeye's battle cry. Don't be that fan, dude. Not a good look. Okay. Well, you know what? 365 days, Ohio State put an asterisk on Michigan's national championship. Michigan just beat Ohio State straight up less than 2 months ago.
Hey, John, am I having mic issues?
I know there was like a little bit of static, but I'll keep an ear on it because it wasn't like bad enough that it was throwing me off. But I'll keep an eye out. So Ryan Hall has gifted 5 Michigan at the Voice College Football memberships, which means Gosh Wheezy Blue, Motown Mateo, Raj Minaj, Tactical Spork 77, and Somnam Woods are all now those who stay will be champions members for 30 days. Hit that refresh button and enjoy your emojis.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bounce out and back in, John. Some of the commenters said my mic's having issues.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's fine. Okay. So Ryan Hall, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. And congrats to everybody who just got a those who stay will be champions membership. Salty Rock with the $4.99 says, have you noticed that in 2027, the state of Michigan has 4 top 60 guys, according to 247, which is far more than usual. How do you think that this will impact that class? Well, I think that 2027 is still a little ways away. So we're looking at 2026 for the most part. We're looking at obviously Trey Taylor for 2027, and he's a friend of the program. But we'll start analyzing 27 more in future months. But I think Sharon Moore and company have been placing more of a premium on making sure that we retain state of Michigan talent. Notice that Bryce Underwood, they pulled out all the stops to get the hometown hero, Bryce Underwood, to come back from LSU to Michigan. And so that trend could continue, Salty Rock. TJ, obviously, checking out the mic issues, so I'll let him chime in on that when he's back. But thank you, Salty Rock, for the $4.99. And let's see. So Marmar says, DOT, congrats. Absolute. Look, you won the Natty. You beat Notre Dame. Congratulations. Yes, you did. Do you OSU fans want a spanking from your daddy? Well, in November, we'll get another. And so everybody can throw in the chat the last 4 years of, I love this, the Michigan, Ohio State scores, as well as the third base Ryan Day emoji. There you go. And TJ, you're officially back, it looks like. We'll check that. I'll keep an ear out on the mic, and we'll see how that's going. But there was a question that I think you would want to chime in on here, which is that the state of Michigan has more top 60 guys than usual. And how do you think that will impact the 27 class?
Yeah. So dude, the 2020, we talked about this a little bit. 2027 class is loaded, and we're talking elite talent at some serious positions. It's probably the strongest year Michigan's had in I don't know how long, a long time. Michigan is in a great position for all of them. What's beautiful about these guys, and again, we're talking 2 years away. They all know Bryce Underwood, and they all have, like, a lot of these kids are a part of that sound mind, sound body, 7-on-7, all that stuff. So they know him, like of course, every kid in the state of Michigan knows Bryce Underwood, and it's a big deal. He's here. Michigan's in a great position for all that. Bryce Underwood's a big time recruiter. The word is that Michigan's in a great spot for all of them. But it's early, right? We're still 2 years away. I do believe, here's what I believe. I believe the way Michigan is building its recruiting in terms of the agents, the kids, they know Michigan has NIL ability. Michigan is without question. Sean Moore has said this, so has Sean McGee. It is imperative to build a wall around our state. Best players in Michigan go to Michigan. It's being definitely, they're targeting these kids already. I anticipate Michigan to have a high hit rate on these guys in 2027. I think Michigan's in a great spot for all of them.
There you go. And I was saying when you were out, Michigan is clearly placing more of a premium on hometown talent now. You saw that 100%. With Bryce Underwood as the chief example, right? So I think you'll see more of that for 27 when there's 4 top 60 guys, keeping as many as possible in state. And GT with a concern how concerned are we with Sparty signing their 6-star long snapper, highest ranked recruit that they have gotten in years?
Yeah, I mean, the concern level is definitely raised to a 2 out of 10.
Real high.
Special teams matter. Long snappers are people too. Hey, good for them for landing an elite talent at a premium position. Good for little brother for kicking recruiting into that next gear. We'll give golf clap to them. So good job, Sparty. Maybe one day you'll be relevant.
Yeah, maybe in like 10 years. We'll see. All right, Wolverine, not so casual. Asking to peek ahead. With the 2 there, is Ty Haywood a lock? Well, we're gonna get to that later in the show. We can't give away all the good stuff right away, man.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
But if you were on the members only stream last night,
you would know that answer.
You'd already know the answer. So,
which is another incentive to being a member to our channel. Not only is there a major announcement coming, but we dropped a little bit on the Ty Haywood thing yesterday. We'll get into it. We'll get into it though. We'll get into it on the recruiting roundup.
Absolutely. Yes. Last night we watched the first half of the national championship game that it was. All together, those who stay will be champions and Connor Stallions members.
It was fun for a quarter. It was a good time for one quarter.
Yeah. I like that. I liked it when Notre Dame scored the first touchdown. That was fun.
That first drive was beautiful.
That was great. Then things kind of went off the wagon a little bit, but it is what it is. Okay. So Remember last week when we were a little concerned about Wink Martindale talking to some NFL teams? Well, it does look like that Michigan is now trending towards retaining defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, because both the Falcons and the Colts have gone another direction with their DC. And what we're seeing, I think, TJ, and you watch the NFL more than I do, but what it looks like to me is that they're placing a premium on being on the younger side, maybe more controllable, maybe more, whatever that is. But it does look like the DCs are going younger, and so kind of is trending against the Wink Martindales of the world, which is in Michigan's favor.
Yeah, no doubt. And if you watched our show when this broke, I told you guys I wasn't so sure he was gone. There's just a reputation with Wink. To me, it was a feeling out process. I wasn't sold he was gone. And I do think, to mine and John's point earlier in the year, he needs another year. He needs another year to show that he can still, maintain an elite defense, which I do think he will. So probably next year will be the year he jumps back to the NFL at some point. But at the same time, Wink has legitimately said he wants to retire here, and he is paid the fourth. That's another thing too. So let's also qualify this. Yes, it's true that Wink has a reputation of, button heads with head coaches from time to time, but it's also true Michigan has made Wink Martindale the fourth highest paid defensive coordinator in all of football.
Yeah. $2.3 million a year.
Right. The only way you're prying Wink Martindale away from Michigan is if you pay him more than Michigan. And that's a lot of money in NFL, even though it is the NFL. But like, do they really? And I said this on our show as well. I mean, even if Wink went to the NFL, guys, he'd be ranked in like 15 to 20 range. Like, there's a reason why he got exposed in the Giants, and like the NFL is a very, it's the best in the world. So our team's willing to pay Wink Martindale a top 3 NFL salary for a defensive coordinator who might be ranked in the teens in the NFL. Like that's the hurdle, right? That's one of the hurdles as well. So, it's good. Things seem to be trending very well. Falcons, Colts have gone another direction. I think the Bengals are currently, they're going after, I think, Notre Dame's defensive coordinator, Golden. So, I feel pretty confident things are going in the right direction for us. The thing to watch are what other openings occur in the next few weeks in the NFL. But I think things are looking real good. And and then in terms of like, what does this mean for Michigan? Obviously, what it means for Michigan is this defense, this system is going to stay in place. These players are going to get another year. A lot of these players are coming back. There's already buy-in. They were already playing at a.
Oh,
my bad. I don't know what I hit. They were already playing at a top 10 level. At the end of the year. I mean, like, John, you read me a stat that blew my mind because I didn't even realize it. And we were ranked 11th in total defense in college football, and we had such a poor start. And then our schedule only got tougher with like the Oregons, the Indianas, the Ohio States and the Alabamas, these offenses that are pretty aggressive. And Michigan's defensive numbers actually only improved as the year went on. I'm extremely encouraged. And then what does it mean for recruiting? Everything, because we talked about last week, what could the potential impact be if Wink went to the NFL? What does that mean for a Zahir Mathis? Yeah, that would have sucked. And it probably would have really gave programs, the fuel to negatively recruit Michigan. But now if Wink comes back, which again, it's trending very, very well in that direction, guess what? The OG's back in the building, and the OG can definitely sell that to all these recruits to being a part of this NFL defense that gets these kids. And this draft's going to be a big one because you're going to get a bunch of dudes drafted in the first 2 rounds from Michigan. Like your Kenneth Grant, your Mason Grahams, your Josiah Stewart's, Will Johnson's. Kids are going to see that, so that's going to be added, added value to Michigan in terms of recruiting. So yeah, I mean, it's big time. And we also talked about this too, John. If Wink did leave, what does that mean for the expectation for next season in terms of floor and ceiling? Well, guess what? The floor's risen way higher and the ceiling's even higher now. So yeah, it's great news for Michigan. I'm excited about it. And, hopefully it's not just one more year. Hopefully it's more. And hopefully Wink continues his dominance that he's starting to show in the college football ranks.
For sure. The truth here with the that was pretty funny. I thought that was funny. And the truth, third base Ryan Day and his brother just getting on TJ there.
Bro, you got Ryan Day's brother hacking my mic, pulling me off the screen. They don't listen. We're not going nowhere. I don't give a shit what Ryan Day does, how much he pays his brother's little detective agency. We're gonna, I got people too, Ryan. All right, I got IT guys. We'll handle it.
The truth also threw out another $2 Canadian to say Notre Dame defensive coordinator with that Don Brown playbook against Satan. Well, it did look like a lot of over aggression at times, and Ohio State taking advantage of it with a lot of like screens. The running back screen that they did was very effective. And they were just taking advantage. And yeah, it did look like Don Brown at times last night.
Well, and a lot of guys were missing their responsibilities. Like there was that one play where the DB was signaling, for the guy to get over there, and he completely miscommunication. And it's amazing. They just weren't ready. The zero blitz was something. I forgot who said it, so forgive me. But they were right when they said, don't send a leprechaun to do a Wolverines job. That's just what it is, man. Facts. Do not send a leprechaun to do our job. So you're welcome, Ohio State. You're welcome. We weren't in the playoffs to take you out. That's our gift to you.
Yep. Cam Cameron with the 5, also a YouTube member. On 3 ranks incoming versus outgoing transfers within a program, not against other incoming only transfers at other programs like 247 does.
That makes sense. Now, John, there was an interesting graphic. Which should we bring that up? The one that our guy Double BB made. I could probably pull it up pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
So there's actually an excellent graphic done by one of our good friends of the program, for sure. Let's see. I got it right here. What the hell? So if we look, all right, so here it is. I'll pull it up. So to Cam's point here, we have, so our guy Double BB, he made this graphic, so shout out to him. If you guys are not following him, I'm telling you, I made a post about this last week. Between Swanky and our guy Double BB, they are the best 2 Michigan profiles doing Michigan content, man. And Double BB does excellent analysis like this, but he goes to show you. So to Cam's point here, what are we bringing in and what are we losing? So Mikey Keene in the transfer was ranked 24th. And then we lose Alex Orji and Denigol, and they were ranked 57th, 86. Justice Haynes was ranked 3rd. Cole Cabana and Tyvier Dunlap, 43rd, 140. McCauley, 51st. Simpson, 90th. We're losing Tyler Morris at 143. Now, we lost Gentry, Percy, and Bounds. So, again, offensive line, it is an interesting thing. But also, remember, we're bringing in some 5-star tackles, guys. 5-star tackles. Let's not forget that. Right. And we look at interior offensive line. Brady Norton was ranked 7th. Lawrence Tatar, 46. We're losing 47, 125. So essentially, when you go through this, the program, the depth of the program has actually been risen. And that is what, and if we look at the averages at the end of this, right? The averages come down to 46. And then what we lost was ranked 103. So the depth of the program, the foundation of your program, has actually been risen. And this is that long-term sustainable approach. They're rotating this roster. They're adding depth to this roster, which should drive long-term sustainable success, especially when you add these very talented recruiting classes that Michigan is on the verge of bringing in, which they've already had. But we're trying to land Haywood and Zahir Mathis now. So, again, Michigan's just, they're again like an NFL team. They're building this roster very NFL-like. We'll see. Now, again, and you know how we do it, John. We keep it honest around here. Yes, there is some areas of concern. Offensive line, wide receiver, in my opinion. They're not done though, like in terms of spring portal and things like that. So I do believe where the roster is currently, it's not a finished product. So we'll just have to see what Michigan does there. They're aware, but we'll just have to see their approach come spring portal.
Yeah, I think this graphic's very notable because what you notice almost entirely across the board is that much better players are coming in than who are leaving. There are some exceptions to this. Tyler Morris obviously was a starting wide receiver, but for the most part, what you're seeing is non-starting players who didn't make it. They didn't cut the mustard. They're leaving. And players who can probably, a lot of them could probably start right away, are coming in. So this is a net positive in my opinion. I agree with you that, and y'all know me and my dissatisfaction with Ron Bellamy and the wide receiver situation. So I've been very consistent on that. But I do think that even in that position, I think you've got some improvements here reflected, and I'm very excited for Macaulay,
100%.
especially coming in from Indiana. So it's I think a net positive.
I would agree. I think that's the thing is like when we look at this transfer portal class, and I think what On3 does is actually unique. It's actually been as useful and has its value. When you look at our transfer portal class, it is a very solid. Like, these are solid players, guys. They've added some good talent here. Now the question becomes, how many of these guys are impact players? Some of it's to be determined. Metcalf might actually turn out to be, TJ Metcalf might actually turn out to be an impact guy for us next year.
Yeah.
But what we do know is Justice Haynes is no doubt an impact player. I'd even argue Macaulay has that potential. I mean, yes, this year his numbers weren't great because he walked away from the team so he could save his eligibility. But the year prior, he was up for all Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention, all Big Ten honorable mention. So, and that was when he was younger. So he's only older, only stronger, only faster. He's going to be utilized. So, he's that big body receiver that we've been missing sorely. So yeah, I mean, I think Michigan, and this is why this is going to be a lot of fun this offseason, John, when we start looking at the depth charts, projected starting lineups, position breakdowns and all that. Because at the end of the day, the roster is it's good. It's not a finished product though. So it still has work to do. And we'll see how they close it out.
Absolutely. Got a couple more here. Thambone 30. What top 100 D tackles are looking at Michigan? Also excited for Captain America Brave New World. So it looks like we got a Marvel fan here.
Yeah. So I'm also excited for the new Captain America. But regarding, the 26 recruiting, I don't know any top 100 defensive tackles currently on Michigan's radar. So I don't know yet. I don't have that name for you. I'm still getting familiar with the 26 class as we speak. We're going to introduce you guys to some more 26 names.
Yep.
But in terms of like defensive tackle, there's currently nobody in that top 100 range. Now, I think you mean national. I would assume that's what you mean. In terms of national top 100, there's no defensive tackle, no 3-tech, no 0-tech currently on the radar that I'm aware of.
But let's make one thing very clear. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. I'm the Red Hawk. Let's just make that very clear, okay? So,
yeah. Possibly, possibly Elijah Golden. But I don't know. I have not heard anything on Michigan's. I know he's a current target, but I've heard I don't know of anything in terms of what's trending. So he's ranked 39th in the nation.
Okay, there we go.
In the chat, if you guys know of anybody I'm not thinking of, let me know.
Wolverine Casual, any news on Rod Moore? I mean, he's coming back, right? Is there any reason he wouldn't come back?
You know what's crazy? You know what's real crazy? Is the announcement or the deadline I thought was the 14th or the 16th where these things had to be announced. I don't know why it's not public, but he's coming, guys. Yeah. All right. So we let out a secret in October that I thought it was public. And anyone who's watched us, what I'm about to say. I was told in October he was coming back. He's coming back. Like it's just not public. I don't know. Now, here's what I think. I think potentially what's occurring is they have to get the NIL together. I think things need to get finalized. Let's just put it that way. Things need to get finalized for these players before they make official announcements. I think maybe that's what's going on. Now I'm assuming, but I on target there. So yeah, I mean, they're coming back. I mean, they're all coming. All these guys you're worried about, they're coming back right now. So yeah, we'll see him back. He'll be in maize and blue.
GT with my exact thoughts. See, GT calls it like it is with the 5. If our wide receivers still suck after getting a good offensive coordinator and quarterback, really 2 better quarterbacks with both Bryce Underwood and Mikey Keene, both of them are better than anybody on the roster this year. Fire Bellamy into the sun. Now, I said fire Bellamy into the sun for the last 2 years. However, I understand, his argument to Chip Lindsey and to Sharon Moore is, I had no quarterback. So what are the wide receivers supposed to do when the quarterbacks are lobbing it, and there were, to be fair, a lot of open receivers at various points throughout the year. Samaj Morgan was most famously open and then was dissatisfied, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, ask Samaj Morgan how he feels about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of the point, is like, you add better quarterbacks, which I don't think there's anyone who would say Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood are not better than what we just dealt with. I don't even think a Buckeye would say, no, they're not. Of course they are. Now you add an offensive coordinator who runs a balanced offense, who's had top 10 ranked offenses before, averaging over 400 yards a game. He's put an NFL. He's put, obviously Drake May. He helped Drake May become a better quarterback, go to the NFL. You would expect an improvement at the wide receiver position. So I would agree with GT here. I mean, if the wide receivers do not take a step up, and there is more talent here, the room is deeper. You do have this freshman class coming in that's really talented. Yeah, I mean, we got to start looking at this position coach, But, Sharon Moore, trust him, so he's going to get another year, and we'll see where it goes.
For sure. Support our channel. We have, as you know, YouTube memberships, 3 tiers. You see a bunch of these names here underneath in the ticker. These are YouTube members that are contributing every month to be a part of what we do. And here's the Connor Stallions tier people. They are contributing $9.99 a month. We then have the most popular is the Those Who Stay Will Be Champions tier at $4.99 a month. That gets you access to our monthly members only stream, which we had last night, had a great time. And it gets access to the Avengers Assemble monthly stream. And you get to do all kinds of other things. And so, then you have the $2.99, which gets you the emojis and the badge and a shout out in the ticker. So regardless of where you're at, I strongly recommend at least the $4.99 tier so you can access our members only streams. I think that has valuable intel, and every single time, and you guys can say in the chat, if you've been at the streams, you can tell people there's valuable intel that gets shared that we can't share when 500 people are watching.
Also, John, you're going to want to be a member, because what we're working with Win Agency on, it's a pretty big, and we're excited to be able to present this to our members. Be on the lookout for that. Again, we will reveal more next Tuesday and every week leading up to when we're ready to finally reveal it all. We're going to reveal more and more. And then to become, to John's point, tier 2 or higher. So that gives you access to the monthly membership, gives you access to the Avengers Hangout. By the way, Captain America's in the chat. What's up, Johnny Holden?
Hey.
And it will also give you access to a major challenge that we think you guys, actually, I don't even think, how about this? I know we're going to have some fun with. So stay tuned and be on the lookout. And then here's the thing, to win this challenge, you have to be a member. If you are not a member, to enter the challenge and to receive the prize, you cannot win the prize. Be on the lookout. Coming soon.
Very exciting stuff. All right, here we go with some of our favorite segments, portal and recruiting. So there are still 2 names that that have been kind of floating out there, that are still in play from the portal. And I think that the one that everyone wants to know about is Ty Haywood. Now, if you were here last night, you would know already. But TJ, what is the latest on Ty Haywood? Is he coming?
Yeah, so Ty Haywood is like the big fish. We've been talking about Ty Haywood since November, since Michigan's been trying to get him to decommit from Alabama. He did. Trying to get him to visit to Michigan. He did. Trying to get his mom on campus, who has not been on campus, and she just wanted to see it. She has. And then also executing an absolutely great weekend that they could possibly enjoy and see themselves in the maize and blue, and Michigan did. Michigan knocked out of the park this weekend. They crushed it. Obviously, we have seen some predictions come in from the Will Fongs and the Simmons, and also I believe there was another insider through On3 who also put out a prediction, I think on Friday, before the visit, actually. But what's interesting about this recruitment, John, is this is what we would call a Queen Jolyn special. And this is a recruitment that we have told you guys about if you watched our show since, I don't know, early December or so, maybe November, I don't know, around there. That this is a player they've identified that they would love to bring into this class to help build this class around Bryce Underwood, to give him the protection that he needs in the pocket. And Michigan has done an excellent job here. We are all aware of the Sean McGee visit that happened a week prior to his visit in Ann Arbor to close the deal or help close the deal. Well, here's the reality of the situation. It's, there was a thing we were doing in the summer, John, called TJ, TJ's locks, Ronin locks, or whatever the hell we were calling it. Well, we're locking this one up, boys. It's done. So EJ said 90% tonight. That's fine. And I know it's done. Listen. So one of the big hurdles for Michigan was mom needed to be on campus to make sure she liked it and all that. And by all accounts, they had a great time. And the NIL situation, from my understanding, it's done. It's just about when do they want to announce things, is kind of from my understanding. So, we'll see where it goes, but yeah, things look absolutely great. It looks absolutely great right now for Michigan. We'll see when things become public. I don't know when that's going to be or when the Haywoods want to make the announcement. I know there was the initial idea of waiting all the way to signing day, which is in February. I'm not so sure it's going to take that long. I feel like he's going to wrap it up sooner than that, but I can't say I know that. That's not intel. That's assumption on my end, by the way. And the reason why I feel that is because, from my understanding, everything's done. So it's it's just a matter of when, not if. So yeah, Michigan did the thing here. And here's another thing that's interesting about this, John. Michigan is going to have 3 5-stars in one class, which is the first time in like the modern recruiting era.
It's a long time.
So for the individuals who say, well, Michigan's not doing enough, it's not true. They are. And we just started getting it together. The donors really started rallying in September. Michigan greenlit the paying for players in March. In terms of high school and portal and all that happened around March. And then, where the ADs, the regents and everybody were all aligned with moving forward in that direction due to the evolving climate of college football, which we, again, brought to you guys when that shit dropped before anybody. And then, the donors really started rallying in September. The momentum and all that. And Michigan did a really good job from October to November. I really feel like sometimes we overlook that. I feel like we don't appreciate what Sean McGee and co. really did. They really did do a great job bringing that class together. And then, John, if we look at the next target, Zahir Mathis, look, they land Ty Haywood and they land Zahir Mathis. They finish the class with the number 6 class in the nation. That is excellent. That is elite. The number 5 class in 2025, from my understanding, is Ohio State. Ohio State is just a few points ahead of Michigan if they land Zahir Mathis. What's interesting, too, guys, is Zahir Mathis was formally committed to Ohio State. Now, the good news is, and like we talked about previously in the show, Wink Martindale is trending to Michigan, to remain at Michigan. Well, that's big time for Zahir Mathis. Because if you have a defensive coordinator change, that could affect that recruitment, and it definitely creates an opening for another school to negatively recruit Michigan. So we don't know who the defensive coordinator is going to be. You don't know the system. You don't know if he's going to develop you. Blah 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 blah. Bullshit. Well, here's what it is. Wink Martindale is looking to be here another year. I mean, it appears that Wink Martindale will be here another year, which will be just great to close here with Zahir Mathis. Zahir Mathis will be an excellent get to put on the other side of Nate Marshall, who, by the way, just got his 5th star today by Rivals. So he's now a 5-star. He's also ranked a 5-star by Rivals. Now, it's not a composite unanimous, but I don't give a shit. His film's fantastic. Like, there comes a point where the rankings are the rankings, and I don't care. The film matters. And again, dude, like, you just have an excellent class for 2025 that goes along with what we talked about earlier, John, the portal, which is a very solid, strong portal. It's not an elite portal. We're not selling no gas, but it is a solid portal that is going to add depth and raise the floor of this roster, as well as create competition at spots where you want competition. So, I think Michigan's just doing a really good job here. It's definitely it's an aggressive approach, but it's not a careless approach. That's how I would kind of define Michigan's current recruiting strategy. It's definitely, it has an aggressiveness to it, especially when they identify a guy, whether it be Justice Haynes, whether it be Babalola, whether it be Shamari Earls, whether it be Ty Haywood, right? And Underwood, right? When they identify a guy, they get him. They essentially get into a mode where it's like, okay, I don't care what you do, we're getting them. They pretty much have achieved almost batted 1,000 on most of those. So then, you add in the portal additions, you add in this foundational class, and Michigan is in a good place for the future for Sharon Moore, the Sharon Moore era.
Yeah, and Jacob has a question on this. So for $4.99, he's asking if we do land Haywood, which it looks like we are landing Haywood. Who do you see starting first, Babalola or Ty Haywood?
That's a great question, because
it is a great question.
Here's the truth about both of them. Okay, they're both physical specimens with great athletic profiles and excellent frames, long arms, strong. They both have mechanical issues that they need to fix. Like, for example, Babalola has only been playing football for 3 years, guys. Like, he is so raw. That's one of the things that really attracts Michigan to Babalola, because he's so good with only 3 years of playing football. He's so new to the game. Michigan feels like there's a belief that Babalola could really be like a top 5 pick in the future, top 10, top 5, because he has the perfect athletic profile, perfect frame, perfect archetype for a left tackle. And he's very strong, very athletic. Haywood is one of those players where he is so physically strong that he is overpowering the competition without excellent mechanics. So sometimes he gets a little high, his hips aren't bent, knees aren't bent, but he just overpowers and manhandles dudes. So, these are areas that will need to be corrected. Sharon Moore obviously is an offensive line guru. Grant Newsome's also well respected and considered an up and comer. So who do I see will be starting first? Let me look at my depth chart real quick so I can just kind of look at. I think, all right, my argument. All right, so it's tough. So I think we will see Babalola potentially starting at left tackle by his sophomore year. I think Andrew Sprague is going to man the right tackle position for the next 3 years, 2 to 3 years. It depends if he leaves early his junior year. And then right guard is where I actually think Haywood's going to slot in.
I was going to say,
which could be year 2. It could be his year 2. So, I mean, they might start both the same year. I mean, the way the roster looks, there appears to be a clear path for both of them, but that's barring any portal additions in the next 3 portal cycles before that sophomore year. So we'll see. So I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would do Babalola.
Me too. But I do see a place at right guard potentially for Ty Haywood, and there's discussion about that. It's not just us talking about it. There's on the boards elsewhere. He could slide to guard. He has the skills. He has the ability to do that.
Hey, shout out to CJ Mike, by the way.
CJ Mike's shout out. TJ is
Yeah, shout out to
spot
him.
on.
Hey, we do what we can around here, man. I try to bring you guys honest analysis. But so to CJ's point, he goes, my buddy's a coach out here in Texas. I asked him to evaluate Haywood. He almost said the exact same thing about Haywood. Because I mean, it's what it is. If you look at his film, you see a very overpowering player who's just dominating competition, but just has some mechanical issues that is fixable and coachable. That's like the best thing about it. It's like it's nothing that's not these aren't long-term issues. These are just really, it just comes down to time on task and repetition, and then it becomes innate, and then it becomes natural for him, and then he will just become an excellent player. I mean, we're talking future all Big Ten caliber players here. We're talking first round pick projected players here. I mean, these guys are really top of the food chain, elite prospects.
Absolutely, and thanks, Jacob, for the $4.99 there. So we also do have some. We're starting to dive into 2026 here, and TJ has looked at a couple of these, and has found 5 recruits that y'all should start to get to know a little bit as we start to look at 2026.
Yeah, so again, like we're entering the 2026 class season. We're in January. It's early. Shout out to my boy Greg. I see you. It's early. And, so now what I'm trying to do is I want to get you guys more familiar with these names, because this is going to be so fluid. Names are going to change. Names are going to drop. Players are going to be added. But here are some players that we should be aware of in January of 2025. Jackson Cantwell, the number 1 offensive tackle in the nation. Again, Michigan prioritizes the trenches. Michigan and Cantwell does look at Michigan as one of his top schools, but here's some reality, and this isn't a surprise to anybody. This is one of those where NIL is going to matter. So then it just comes down to, where does Michigan prioritize Jackson Cantwell after just landing 1, highly likely 2 5-star tackles? So do you need another number 1 elite 5-star tackle? I don't know. You may. I don't. That's something we're going to learn in terms of how Sean McGee, Sherrone Moore, want to invest in the offensive line. And I'm sure there's some people saying, put that money at a wide receiver, and maybe they will. I mean, maybe they will, right? So it's so early. So that's why we got to kind of watch. NIL is going to matter major here. He's obviously an elite talent. He's already visited Michigan before. Just a name that we need to be paying attention to. I'm sure he's going to visit again in the summer. We'll have it here for you. The next player we're going to talk about is Victor Singleton, the 6-foot corner out of Ohio, out of Toledo, Ohio. Okay, Toledo's friendly to Michigan, boys. Toledo is friendly to Michigan. Now, there is belief that he's not locked into Ohio State at all. He has visited Michigan before. He's currently ranked the number 65 player in the nation. He is an elite corner. I don't know what it is, but Ohio, the state of Ohio, grows corners, bro. Like, I have no idea what the hell is going on, because every year they got like top 100 corners, and it's annoying as shit, actually. But hopefully, like Charles Woodson, we can land another, right? So hopefully we can land another elite corner out of Ohio. And, we'll see if, Michigan can close here. But yeah, he just visited recently. I'm sure this is a name we will see again in the summer, a name that we should be paying attention to. And we will definitely have those updates for you. Another player.
We'll take a corner. We'll take a corner from Ohio all day, every day.
Give me all the corners from Ohio. I'll take them all. The next player we want to talk about is linebacker Jordan Campbell, who is currently committed to the Miami Hurricanes. This player is a player that Brian Jean-Marie has targeted and is trying to make a move with, trying to entice to come visit Michigan, over the next few months, potentially for official visits. And this is a player that Michigan has identified as someone they really like. And he is, as I said, currently committed to Miami. What's really interesting about this player is he has really good size. He's 6'2", 200-pound frame. He's only a junior, so he's probably going to get to about 210 or 208 probably this summer. And then by the time he's ready for college ball, he might be 6'2", 6'3", 215, 220. Like, he's going to be ready for it. So he's currently ranked 66 in the nation, the number 4 linebacker in the nation. This is a player that I am aware that Michigan has targeted early. We'll see if they can make some move here and get him up to Michigan. He is, and just for clarity, he is out of Florida. So sometimes that can be tough, especially Some of the Florida players have allegiances to Miami, Florida State, Florida. But the good news is there's so many of these Florida kids, they are willing to come to Michigan. They are willing to travel north. So, we'll see if Michigan can pull him out of the Sunshine State. The next player we're going to talk about is inside offensive lineman Leo Delaney out of North Carolina. And again, another one of these Providence Day boys. Providence Day is just pumping. It's a damn football factory out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Currently ranked as the 87th player in the nation. We all know, as we talked about with Jackson Cantwell, Michigan invests in the trenches. This is a target for Michigan. They're going to try and, get him up to campus again, especially for official visits. A player that Michigan has identified that they think is, they would, from my understanding, he's at the top of their board. So, we'll find out if Michigan can continue to gain momentum and traction and where Michigan ranks when they start coming out with their final lists, which are going to be coming now. So just want to give everybody a heads up and some pre-warning. We're in the 2026 class. These kids are going to start saying, oh, major announcement. I got big news. And it's going to be some top 10 lists, some top 12 lists, top 6, whatever. They like to have fun with it. Now, I'm not saying Cantwell's one of these kids. I'm just saying essentially, a lot of these kids do like to play these games on social media, so just be aware of that. Don't think any surprise commitments are coming unless, we'll try to prep you if there's anything we're aware of. But for the most part, typically these kids are just having fun with the process. The next player I want to talk about, and Michigan is really targeting the tight end position for 2026 because, as you know, Andrew Olish's dad is an a-hole, respectfully, sir. And Andrew Olish's mom is an incredibly nice lady, though, upstanding
nice
citizen. We all hail Andrew Olish's mother.
Mm-hmm.
But so, we didn't get Andrew Olish, obviously. So Michigan's really targeting tight ends for 2026. So this kid is currently ranked number 27th in the nation, number 3 tight end overall. He's 6'6", 238 pounds, out of Utah. Michigan has identified him as one of their tight ends that they're currently trying to build a stronger relationship with, get him on campus more, and, really build from there and hopefully land him in the class. Now, from my understanding, this is going to be a very tough recruitment. And I'm sure, like most of these kids who are in this range, he's a borderline 5-star right now. NIL is going to matter. I'm sure it will. So we'll keep tabs on it. We'll let you guys know where it stands, where it goes. And then the final, and actually that is the final player. So these are the 5 players I wanted to bring to your guys' attention for the 26th class. Be on the lookout. We will continue. So here's what's interesting about recruiting right now, John. January, there are some visits here and there. February, we're about to hit a dead period. There should be some smoke. And when I mean smoke, I mean some information here and there. March is when things are really going to pick up, though. So, we're going to, we'll keep our ears to the ground. We'll see if Michigan can make any moves. And if players start to trend more. We all know what's going on with Michigan and the running backs and some of these other players we talked about last week. And we're here for it. So stay tuned to Michigan at the Voice of College Football. We'll keep you guys updated on 26th class. And let me just also stress before we close this segment, John.
Yeah.
Look, the 25 class, Michigan's closing very strong, looking to be a top 6 class in the nation. There is no doubt about it. I can confirm Michigan is looking to home run the 26 class. They're looking to have a top 5 class in that year as well. Let's see what the boys can do. We're here for it. We're going to look forward to this, and we'll keep you guys updated along the way.
I'm looking forward to Savion Hyder and many others headlining that class and hopefully coming on to Michigan Wolverines Live to tell their story as we've had in the past. All right. Thank you so much to Ryan Hall. Another 5 gifted memberships. Mike Layton, Eric Hendricks, Handy Scapers LLC. So it looks like that's a business, Handy Scapers. So if you guys want to sponsor our channel, let us know. John Lynch and username all just got Those Who Stay Will Be Champions 30 days membership.
Username, huh? I know
username.
That guy.
Yeah.
That's my boy, Greg.
Well, he just
there you go, bro.
A membership.
You got a membership now.
There it is. So thank you, Ryan. You come through every single show with the gifted memberships. We appreciate you. And Jacob is back with the $4.99. Do you think that Michigan hurt itself financially when Underwood committed? Meaning, will kids look at the money that he got and say to themselves, well, why not me?
Well, I mean, I think initially kids thought Michigan was going to be like the New York Yankees or the LA Dodgers. You know, I think they thought open check season, and that's what Derek Meadows tried to do. Although actually we've heard some counter intel on that. And you know, so regarding that source we got some information from, word is that we actually had the highest offer and he didn't come. I don't know. That was in that bit of information we got, but I don't know. We'll see on that. But I would say the larger opinion is that actually Georgia offered more, and maybe that's the case. So there's definitely kids who initially, when Bryce Underwood, when things came out, they did anticipate that Michigan was going to have like bags for everybody. And the reality is Michigan, and we talked about this a lot, Michigan is slotting these players in ranges and they're not willing to go above it unless they like literally lock in on you and think you are, without question, a cornerstone player to build around. So I don't know. I think actually, to be honest though, I think it actually helped Michigan because now, you know, with shots across the bow, kids, agents know that Michigan is not. See, Michigan had a bad reputation and regarding NIL, Michigan was considered the school that would not play the NIL game. So there was kids who wouldn't even come visit. They would not even spend time considering Michigan. But now all these kids are considering Michigan because they are aware that Michigan is aggressive with NIL or at least playing the game. So I think initially it might have hit a little bit, but I mean, let's look at the end of the day. I mean, if you look at the 25 class, like we talked about, potentially a top 6 class, I think Michigan's fine. I mean, I think it's okay. We'll see going forward. The one thing to me that I think is really interesting is future quarterbacks. What is the expectation for future quarterbacks? You know, are they going to anticipate a Bryce Underwood deal? Is that going to hurt Michigan? I don't know. You know, so that's an area where I would say we need to be mindful of. When it comes to wide receivers, I mean, I think we would all agree there doesn't appear to be a true. I feel like Michigan has not figured out the correct approach with that yet in terms of recruiting and portal. Hopefully 2026 we see. I know they landed Andrew Marsh and a very strong player, but I mean, outside of that, you know, I mean, we want difference makers. We want impact players. Like we want dudes who are athletic freaks at those positions, who are not just athletic freaks but football players. So we'll see if Michigan changes that narrative in 2026.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, let's not forget Jacob Washington. You know, Jacob Washington kind of gets, you know, Andrew Marsh is the one that everybody thinks about, but Jacob Washington's in there too. Plus, obviously, we've got the transfers coming in, McCauley, and you know, I think a year with more competent quarterback play, you instead of none, you know, like incompetent quarterback play, is going to help a competent offensive coordinator instead of one that failed at Old Dominion and. Actually, somebody who succeeded at UNC, succeeded at Auburn, succeeded at other places. I think that will help wide receiver recruiting a little bit. Let's see, but let's have a year where you don't have the 128th worst, the 128th passing offense in the country, and then maybe wide receiver talent will start to come to Michigan more.
So I just confirmed the Meadows thing I just said, and yeah, they said we had the best package. So I don't know. I mean, maybe we did. I don't fucking know. I mean, I'll tell you this: the source is, again, Sam Webb quote, impeccable, best there could be. There's not a more credible individual regarding that information. So
Okay.
I don't know. I guess we'll trust him on that.
Well, there you have it. Don't forget, everybody, that the owner of our network has written a book. It's called Disputed National Champions. Mark Rogers takes you through what happened during the 1990s in the college football's historic 1990s reset, and what happened. If you're a college football fan, it's at an Amazon near you. Check it out. All right. And last but certainly not least, is the regular season still important? Well, as we know, last night, Ohio State won the national championship. And how did Ohio State get there? Well, let's look at what happened. The first thing that happened is that Ohio State, in the non-conference, played essentially nobody. Then they go to the conference games, and they lose to two of their three toughest opponents. So after taking on the world beaters known as Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall, then they coast through. They lose to two out of their three toughest opponents, and then they sit at home during the conference championship weekend. And what I think that the message that other teams are going to be taking from this is that you should schedule nobody, number one. And then for the conference play, of course, you do have to play people during the conference play. Well, just coast enough to get to 10 wins. As long as you get to 10 wins, you can lose to your two toughest opponents, or you could lose to your toughest, and then maybe you drop one you shouldn't. But just get to 10 wins, and the rest of it, and then just make sure that you work really, really, really hard for the playoffs. But that's what it kind of feels like is happening now. Ohio State has laid the groundwork for teams to stop scheduling tough opponents in the non-conference and phone it in for it, as long as you get to 10 wins. So what do you think this does, TJ, to the regular season, to scheduling considerations, now that Ohio State has won this, some would call it a Mickey Mouse national championship?
So I think when it comes to like non-conference scheduling, it's done. It's done. I think what you're seeing, like this Texas matchup with Michigan, Oklahoma, it's done. Like, I would not be surprised to see teams buying out of the contract in the next few years if they have anything scheduled in the future, like USC or Notre Dame or etc. Although Notre Dame, never mind. Those losers aren't even in a conference, so they don't have a choice. But losers. But damn it, Notre Dame, losers, bro. No, I mean, in terms of just non-conference, though, that's done, bro. Like, you're gonna see cupcake schedules because you have these conferences that are stronger. SEC is stronger, although they looked like shit this year. The Big Ten is without doubt the supreme conference. I will say, to your point, this is where I was going to go on my Ohio State national title position. I am not going to be now. Listen, I am not going to tell anyone how to approach how they look at Ohio State's title. You do what you want to do.
You do you. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to take the position of I'm not going to discount their title. I'm not going to not recognize their title, because that's the same bullshit they tried to pull on us. And I don't believe in that. I believe, and I know, we won our title and we were the best team last year, and everybody else was a bunch of soft ass bitches, and we manhandled all of them. This year, Ohio State had the most talented roster, and they executed when they needed to execute, except against us because they're soft ass bitches. But outside of playing us, they did what they needed to do. And the other team they lost to was Oregon. They embarrassed Oregon, which is called like it is. Another night ruined. I was out to dinner. I was having a burger and beer, and I was just like, this is depressing. I need more beer. You know what I mean? But anyways, so the point is, I am recognizing Ohio State's national title. Now it's up to Michigan to do better. Now we need to one-up Ohio State. F Ohio State. Congratulations on your title. You did get it. You did win it. It's not the greatest run ever. You do have less wins than Michigan did in 2023. Michigan had 15. You have 14. You did lose at your home. It's our stadium. These are all facts. That's actually Queen Jolene Stadium. It should be advertised. It should say Queen Jolene Stadium above that entrance. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Ohio State did win a natty. I do recognize it. I am not going to say it's a Mickey Mouse title. I'm not going to say it wasn't earned, because it was. But it was not the greatest run. You guys are freaking clowns. Ryan Day's still a soft ass bitch. Truth is truth. Is what it is. Michigan's coming for your neck next year. That's just what it is. 5 in a row.
And we're going to be shooting for Michigan's going to be shooting for 5 in a row. And this year, you lost to Davis Warren. Next year, it's a real quarterback, and it's at the big house.
Bryce Underwood's coming for you. All of your goods. Coming for all your goods. Guess what? We're stealing your national title.
Yeah, and maybe the D coordinator goes to Oklahoma too.
Well, you know what, John? We should some interesting smoke on that, actually, John.
Yeah.
Maybe a certain defensive coordinator might be going Oklahoma. So we'll see. We'll have to watch that. We've had that confirmed. We've had some smoke confirmed on our end. So we'll see how true the speculation is right now.
There you have it. Moose agreeing. There's Moose, our moderator. We got Supreme Mans in the house with $1.99, and he says Jamar Browder.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Browder, is, like we talked about before, elite hands catching wide receiver, arguably the best hands in the class. I am high on Jamar Browder, but I think for Jamar Browder to be impactful at Michigan, his route running needs to be elite, aggressive, polished. He needs to be a polished route runner. If he can become a polished route runner like an Anquan Bolden, a Larry Fitzgerald, Jerry Fitzgerald was elite, so let's just not use that example. But he's just got to become a polished route runner. He can cause damage. I mean, I do anticipate Jamar Browder, not year 1, probably not year 3, though, would be the year I would anticipate you see Jamar Browder have an impact plays on the field. And maybe he'll surprise you. Maybe it is year 2. I don't think it's year 1, though. And if anyone, just so everyone knows, like my position on freshmen, I am so hesitant outside of Underwood to give freshmen, to expect a lot out of freshmen in their first year, because it is such a drastic shift from high school to college. You guys saw it with Jordan Marshall. I mean, how much impact did Jordan Marshall have this year? End of the year, last game of the year, yeah, he made things happen. But again, after a whole year of being in college ball, Will Johnson, his freshman year, really did not have great impact till like the final 4 games. It's just very hard for these freshmen to transition. So I'm very cautious when projecting freshmen to have impact years for us. It can happen though. And it does happen. That's the thing too. Like it's not that it doesn't happen. Every now and then you'll have a freshman phenom. Like it's real. It's just, for me, it's hard to, I can't trust it until I see it, kind of thing. Although I will say this, Bryce Underwood, though, that's an exception. I do anticipate Bryce Underwood would be very good as freshman year.
Yeah, agreed with that. Supreme follows it up with a $4.99. And we did talk about this, I think, at the beginning of the show, but did you see we are 9.3 point underdogs against Ohio State next year? Little chip on shoulder mentality going on.
Yeah, aware of that. I can't even. I don't even know. Like, how are they making that spread? Like, we don't even know who Ohio State's quarterback is going to be. You don't even know who our quarterback is going to be. We're returning more than they are next year. It's at our play. Whatever, At 4 years in a row, we've been the underdog. We beat them all 4 years. Do it again. Who gives a shit? Hey, Guess what? Let's just say I was talking to my financial advisor, and he recommended, and this is actually a true story. He recommended you put money on this spread. Okay. So now don't bet your house. TJ did not tell you to bet your house, but you got $20, 30, 40, whatever, $100, whatever you're comfortable with. Put some money on that spread right now. You're going to cash in. 8.5 points my ass. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
And then we got GT with the 5 here. So Buckeyes may flash a ring, but does that make up for having no pants? I think he's referring to that whole gold pants situation.
Yeah, that's funny. I saw a post on social media where they're like, what the fuck? It was like legacy restored oh, I'm sorry, they made it count at the buzzer and it showed the class, the Jack Sawyer class, and all these underachievers. Although they got a national title, I will give credit to that. They did. But you didn't beat Michigan. You don't have gold pants. These are facts. This is truth. So, this is what it is. You've never beat Michigan. CJ Stroud, you are in the same company as CJ Stroud. So no big deal. And then to Ralph, I definitely did not say bet your house. If you do bet your house, blame it on Ralph Wolf.
Yes, John Lynch. TJ, I just bet my life savings on Michigan.
Okay.
9.5.
Well, hey, it's a Ronin lock, boys.
Yeah,
we're cashing in, baby. A Ronin lock.
There it is, folks.
I know Beats and Treats is betting. He's always betting.
Well, we are at that point, and we do, of course, want to remind everybody that we don't just do one show every week. We don't put this stuff behind a paywall. We do 2 shows for the people every single week. And TJ, you've got your next call-in show. I believe it's back to regular time, 8 p.m. Eastern Thursday.
Correct. So the call-in show watch-along party at 7 o'clock, unfortunately, we didn't get the dub. So it did not, the initial launch did not start off good. It's okay, though. We're going back to 8 p.m. We got the Thursday call-in show. The guest who will be with me this week is an individual who is joining the Voice of College Football Network by the name of Matthew Eller. He's going to be writing for us. So I guess breaking news. Voice of College Football is actually launching a website, and there's more to come. That'd be fun. So we'll talk about that later in the year. But he's been one of our writers, and he's a cool dude, man. He's from Michigan. He loves Michigan. Very talented individual. So he will be joining me on the call-in show Thursday to get him familiar with the community so everyone can meet him. And so be on the lookout for that. We will be talking ball. Maybe we'll have some Ty Haywood news. Maybe we'll have some other news. Who knows? It's Michigan. You never know. So, we'll be, maybe Wink Martindale announces he's back for good. Who knows? But be there 8 p.m. Thursday. Looking forward to talking to everybody. And, we'll have a good time with it.
Hey, well, and listen, new website, and maybe yours truly will submit an article or 2. I like to write from time to time, so you never know.
100%. And another thing too with this, so I'll just you guys get a lot of info before most, because obviously I'm a part of the build, but the website, we're gonna have message boards, boys. We're gonna have message boards, and I want Michigan represented, because fuck these other dudes. I'll respectfully. There's community rules, respectfully, but F them. Michigan over everybody. But we'll make our voices heard. Hopefully, everyone from the community signs up. There will be user profiles. It'll be fun. We'll have a good time with it, man. So so be on the lookout for that. We'll let you guys know when all that gets launched. So I definitely want to see our normal faces in our chat. Definitely chatting up. Although Moose, play nice, Moose. Moose gets a little aggressive with these dudes. I got to play nice. Play nice with the Buckeyes, man. So we'll have to figure it out. I'm sure the message boards will be crazy in the beginning, so we'll have a good time.
Yeah, it'll be lit for sure.
We're gonna have to come up with some community guidelines for some of those memes he creates.
Yeah. Well, listen. We have the 3 rules here. We'll probably extend those to the message board too. Just be good to each other. That's all.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Just be.
Yeah, shit talking. We promote shit talking. I'm all for it.
Yeah, shit talking, especially when the Buckeyes come by. Get in on them a little bit, but all right, y'all. So definitely follow us on the socials. You see the socials right here. John Diadamo, TJ_Ronin. Follow us. Get all of our takes on college football and other things. NFL. Enjoy TJ's Bill Belichick and other GIFs that he likes to put out there. And
I'm gonna have to stop using it though. It's my favorite one. But he went to North Carolina. I don't know. I have to think about it. But yeah. It's all right. I got tons more up my sleeve though.
Okay.
So we'll
all right.
We'll have fun with it.
More to come. All right, y'all. Well, that's it for this time. Hit the like button on your way out. Thanks again to the Win Agency for the exciting announcement that we'll have coming up with the Win Agency in just a little bit. So
I
stay tuned for
cannot
that.
wait to announce this announcement. Like, I'm serious.
Yeah,
I'm
it's gonna be
going to
good.
tell you right now. I promise you guys will be excited about it. So
Yeah.
you'll have some fun with it, boys. We'll have some fun with it.
For sure. All right, y'all. Until next time, John TJ saying go blue, and we'll see you soon.
Go blue.